All right, guys. Well, we do have some more stuff that's been released and been declassified due to some recent court proceedings potentially linking Saudi Arabia to September 11th. And this has kind of been known for a little while. Now, this in specific video that's just been released, it was mentioned several different times in articles in May earlier this year talking about the 1 minute video that depicts a Saudi Arabian man touring Washington, D.C., saying some very suspect things, almost like scouting the area, trying to film everything so they could see what is there. Now, this doesn't necessarily completely implicate Saudi Arabia just based off of the video, but it is a very suspect video considering the timing of it. The time the video was shot was in the summer of 1999, so that would have been a little over 2 years before. I'm going to read the full translated transcript on what he says in the 1 minute video. I would imagine the video is a lot longer, but this is what they've been able to declassify just based off of the recent proceedings. This article makes note of the footage saying it was shot in the summer of 99 and in the possession of the FBI. It was unsealed in a court action by families of the victims of 9/11. So this is another very good example of something that I have been talking about recently. It's this lost footage. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with the Twin Towers in terms of you finding footage on that, but the FBI has had this presumably for over 2 decades, and this is the first time any of us are seeing it. This is really the first time, well, I guess you could say we knew about this back in May because there were articles done on them looking into this video, which was depicted as a 1 minute video, but now it gets released officially. It's just crazy to think of all the stuff they still have, and maybe if Trump gets into the White House, we could get more light on September 11th. But when it comes to this, you can see the families claim that Saudi Arabia's government was complicit in the event, which the country's rulers, of course, deny. It was obtained by CBS and shown on the 60 Minutes program. The video includes commentary about various locations in the city, including the Washington Monument and entry points and security arrangements of the U.S. Capitol building, and referring at one point to a plan. So when you think about the transcript and you look into this, it does not seem like this was, in my opinion, based around September 11th. I guess it could have been, but they were kind of referencing almost like car bombs when he talks about potential cars being attacked. Maybe they were talking about doing some type of different attack onto the U.S. Capitol and onto the surrounding monuments rather than, just flying airplanes into them. In 1999, they were devising plans, and we know that one of the planes that landed in Shanksville, it was very likely going to the U.S. Capitol. You could also argue the White House, but probably the U.S. Capitol, so you could make the argument he's there filming, looking around, getting a lay of the land for a potential plane crash into one of the buildings, but I do think this would have been for something different. That's just my initial observation based off of the timing of this video, and really, do you need to get that big of a lay of the land when it comes to it? Now, as for Bayomi, the man that was filming this, Saudi Arabia has denied that Bayomi was an agent. He has long been a subject of speculation due to his links to 2 of the 9/11 hijackers. An FBI report declassified in March of 2022 presented evidence of a 50-50 chance Bayomi had advanced knowledge of the September 11th attacks. I'm guessing he definitely had knowledge. He's scouting. I don't think this was technically for September 11th, but he's scouting the area for some type of attack, and he's relaying the message back, to whoever. And on top of that, he was friends with 2 of the hijackers. Now, as for this video, I will be looking at the transcript and reading from it to see what it actually is. I'm not actually able to play it because it's owned by 60 Minutes. So he starts looking at the U.S. Capitol, saying to his esteemed brothers, "We greet you, the esteemed brothers, and we welcome you from Washington, the American capital city. And we come back once more to this building, whose name I don't know as of yet." I think he's looking at the side of the U.S. Capitol there. "However, I will provide you with the results soon." So some type of results, maybe scouting the area. "I will get over there and I will report. I will report to you in detail what is there." That's what he says, looking, no comment here. He also says no comment here because I did not get to know this place exactly but I am transmitting to you only what I see. And then he says at the end, looking at cars, they're cars. You said that was in the plan. So, there's some interesting stuff there. When it comes to September 11th, cars were not in any plan for September 11th, obviously. This could have been some other type of attack. There's a lot of unknowns right now surrounding this, but it is certainly interesting that this got declassified and sent to CBS, and they used it in one of their 60 Minutes programs. So we will have to see when it comes to this situation. I mean, it's already come out that Saudi Arabia, they're like, how did it get funded? They were saying it was from bin Laden. They were saying it was all Al-Qaeda. Other people are saying it's probably Saudi Arabia that funded this operation, or at least partly funded it. Now, as for this film, it was initially found by UK investigators in Bayomi's flat in the days after the attack in 2001, when he was a PhD student at Aston University in Birmingham. The flat also contained an address book that lawyers from the family say contains the contact details of officials in the Saudi government at the time. The footage was then handed over to the FBI, and this is the first time we're seeing it since they got it, I guess, in 2001. Saudi Arabia has always denied that he was an agent. The FBI claims that when he was shooting the video, he was with two Saudi Arabian diplomats who the Bureau said had ties to Al-Qaeda. The Saudi government declined to comment to 60 Minutes about the contents of the report. So yeah, they're going to start declassifying a lot more stuff if Trump gets in, and I think it's going to point. I mean, we already basically know. Now, this video in specific, I do not think is related to September 11th, especially the fact that he's referencing potentially cars in the video. Obviously, September 11th, cars are completely out of the picture. It's all about planes. So just an interesting thing to look at, and we'll see if anything else gets declassified. It is important to note the only reason this was declassified and we're seeing it is because of the families that are suing. In this case, it's almost like extracting teeth when it comes to a lot of this information. They simply do not want it out. And my speculation has always been that for more information to be released, there's going to have to be pressure from something, because they are going to use the whole, narrative of, oh, there's still pending cases, there's still trials. People put the Freedom of Information requests in all the time, and nothing ever comes out when it comes to the Twin Towers and kind of what happened that day in terms of all the video that we may or may not have. It's not lost media, but it's just another thing to where they've had this for over 20 years and no one's ever seen it. You could argue whether or not it's interesting. I mean, I guess it's interesting because it does show that you've got people in 1999 viewing the DC area, possibly planning something, seems like some other type of attack. The massive commission report that came out in 2004, like almost 600 pages, said that the CIA and FBI were primarily to blame for the attack. And we do know that the FBI and CIA were in contact about attacks like this, and possibly even seeing or knowing about the hijackers in the United States. There was just no coordination. You do have to handle it delicately, but there's a lot of cloudiness behind what the FBI and the CIA actually knew when it came to how they were going to handle the hijackers that were in the United States, because there are people and things have come out that they possibly both knew. They were just waiting for each other to potentially make a move, and obviously neither of them did. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.